Hello, Dan. Thank you very much for letting me be in War and Remembrance. A great book, a great miniseries, and working with you, a very, very great director. You know, I meet a lot of directors, some good, some very bad. And by and large, it's the people who have been through the fire and have endured that are the ones that give us most. You've been through the fire, and I just want you to know that I admire you and love you very dearly. Good wishes, old friend. Bye-bye.
Hi, Dan. You know that it's 37 years, 8.5 months, I don't know how many weeks, days, minutes, and whatever since I auditioned for Dark Shadows. And that's when I met you, and that's almost 40 years ago. I don't know where the time went, but as they say, who's counting? I just can't believe it was that long ago. But I always had the feeling that you probably wanted to fire me after that first day of taping on Dark Shadows, and you didn't. And you knew how inexperienced and green I was, and instead you gave me a chance to grow and to learn and to get better, and then cast me in the first thing I ever did in England, and then first thing in Hollywood. Even such a catalyst, even for the publishing company. So I'm going to use this chance to just say thank you so much. You've been there for me most of my life. And on this year 40th anniversary, I just wanted you to know that I'm so proud to have worked with you, and you've accomplished so many things in that 40 years. So congratulations.
Dan, hi. I hear it's your 40th anniversary. I'm sure there are people out there that didn't think you would live that long, much less produce that long. I loved being around you. I loved being a part of Winds of War. I wish we had done more things together. And I always felt you were watching over me and looking out for me. And I appreciated that a lot.
Hey, Dan Curtis, your 40th anniversary of producing motion pictures? I don't believe that. What I would think about it is that it's pathetic. Do you understand? Pathetic. Happy anniversary, my friend. It's wonderful to be talking to you and kind of working with you again. Many happy returns of the day.
Hey, Dan. Congratulations. I will never, ever forget working with you. You are an experience to work with. You're an extraordinary man. I've never known anyone stronger or more determined or more loving or more caring in terms of helping an actress develop a role and really letting her fly with it. And thank you from the bottom of my heart for giving me the opportunity to play Natalie and to somehow feel in my soul that I was able to help the people that didn't make it, the people that didn't survive the Holocaust, know that they'll never be forgotten. Thank you.
Well, Dan, maybe there was more than one man in the world who could have done it. But you're the man who did it. You did it not only to my satisfaction, but you earned my lifelong gratitude. And it was all fun. Even the fights were fun. And our present friendship will be fun as long as we both live.
The way I got involved in this business is kind of indirectly. I used to be a salesman working for NBC. That was back in the 50s. And I was selling syndicated junk to the local television stations. Things like Douglas Fairbanks Presents and The Visitor and reruns of old Hopalong Cassidy movies, that type of stuff. We started to make our own pilots in those days, and they were awful. The stuff would fly in from the coast on its own. It was so bad. I mean, you talk about turkeys. These things were incredible. And what I would do is that the pilots were so awful. We had a 16 millimeter. It was everything on 16 millimeter film in those days. We had a 16 millimeter projector in our room, in the conference room, and a little editing block in case the film broke. We could splice it together. I would go in and actually cut out entire sequences out of these terrible pilot films. So I always used to say things like, if I couldn't do it better than these dumb bastards, I'd give up the business. You know, they're just awful. So I always had the feeling that I had some kind of creative bent. And then eventually I left there and I went to work for MCA because I wanted to move up into the big time, and I got involved in selling network television. And I came up with an idea for a golf show. They represented Arnold Palmer and Gary Player when those guys were ruling the golf world. And I came up with a little show called Challenge Golf, put them together, and they took on all comers. And I sold it to Lincoln Mercury, I remember. And then I went into Sonny Werblin, who was running MCA at the time, along with Lou Wasserman. And I said, you promised me a raise when I came in here. I haven't seen a dime since I've gotten into the organization. And I need money because I ain't can pay my bills anymore. And he said, oh, well, you know, it's not in the budget right now. And I was asking him for like $10,000. He was paying me nothing. And we got into a big dispute. And I told him to take the job and stick it. And he asked me when I was leaving. And I said, today. And I went out, which is terrible. You know, you go out on your own, and you're alone in New York. But I had another idea for another golf show. And that show went on the air. And I got myself a little office. It was a penthouse office, I called it. It was a storage room at the top of 119 West 57th Street. You had to walk out onto an outside fire escape to get up to a fire door to get in the room. The room was filled with junk. I was paying virtually nothing for it. The owner liked me. He let me have the space, and I figured I'd try to sell my golf show. To make a long story short, it took a year. I had $300 left in the checking account. I couldn't make the next poor mortgage payment on a house. I had $10,000 in unpaid bills in a big cardboard box. I was only paying people who would turn things off. Nobody else got the money. And I sold it. I pulled it out. It's a great story. I pulled it out the last second. It was called the CBS Golf Classic. Stayed on the air for 10 years, and I suddenly had my own company. I produced that show for the first 4 years. CBS and I owned it 50-50, and then I went on to do other things, even though the money was still coming in. And Dark Shadows happened. I came up with a crazy idea, dreamt some wacky thing, went in and sold it, became Dark Shadows. That went on the air. And once Dark Shadows got on the air, I got more involved creatively. I got involved with all the storylines. I was doing all the writing and writing with the other writers and running the whole show. I was telling directors what to do, and it's getting crazier and crazier. And then one day I just decided, I got to cut out the middleman. I'm going to become the director, and I'll do the whole thing myself. And that's the way it happened.
This is Billy Casper.
Right at you.
This is his partner, Bob Rosper.
Hook it. Get up. Get up.
They meet long-hitting George Baer.
Short.
And his partner, Julius Boris, on the CBS Golf Classic.
Beautiful shot. It's halfway.
Get going.
Beautiful shot, though. Yeah, beautiful, yeah. If you like it in the bunker, it's a jetty.